Hi, welcome back to D Lady Diana's channel. If this is your first time, please hit the subscribe button. If you're returning back, thank you for watching, and I appreciate all the comments, good or bad. Keep them coming. This is a growing channel, so I appreciate you for stopping by. Today, we're going to review TikTok's 25 conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. Well, not quite TikTok, but we're going to jump right into the YouTube video. And I'll put the credits at the end. Let's go.
We've all heard our fair share of conspiracy theories. Some are innocent, like the one claiming Elvis is still alive, while others are sinister, like the one claiming 9/11 was orchestrated by the US government. It's easy to dismiss such theories as nothing more than ramblings of crazy people. But don't be so hasty. Just because something is a conspiracy doesn't necessarily mean it's untrue. I'm Mike with List 25, and the following 25 conspiracy theories were all too crazy to be true until they weren't. But before we get started, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, click that notification bell.
The same thing I told you guys to do a few minutes ago. I'm going to do it for D Lady Diana.
25.
Let's go.
The government wants to beam secret messages into your brain. It's the granddaddy of all conspiracy theories. The government is beaming secret messages into your brain to control your thinking. It's the kind of strange allegation that would get you labeled as neurotic if you dared to mention it. No, just ask Donald Friedman, the guy who in 2003 requested that exact information from the FBI. He was declared mentally ill by his psychiatrist as well as the government. But here's the thing. He was kind of right. In a 2006 declassified Pentagon report called Bioeffects of Selected Non-Lethal Weapons, the phenomenon of microwave hearing was laid out, including how the technology in its most basic form can be used to communicate with individuals through Morse code. It might be a good idea to keep that tinfoil hat on. It might not be so absurd after all. 24. The government controls the news. Beginning in the early 1950s, the CIA initiative known as Operation Mockingbird eavesdropped on members of the Washington Press Corps. They paid journalists to disseminate CIA propaganda as part of this program, wiretapped their phones, and monitored their workspaces to keep tabs on their daily operations and visitors' behavior. The CIA also went so far as to pay students in cultural organizations and magazines to act as front groups. Senate hearings in the mid-1970s finally exposed the covert initiative. 23. The Dalai Lama works for the CIA.
All right, when it comes to the CIA, we all know they take over all the government agencies, and we don't play with the CIA.
The Dalai Lama can always be found smiling. Some have wondered if his smiles have to do with the fact that he earned a six-figure salary from the U.S. government in the 1960s. As per declassified intelligence reports, he earned $180,000 as part of the CIA's funding of the Tibetan resistance at a sweet $1.7 million per year. The objective behind these payments was to interfere with and destabilize China's infrastructure. In 1998, the Dalai Lama's administration admitted to receiving these monies from the CIA. 22. The government is making...
That's what's wrong with the government now. They always taking a payout and buyout from somewhere. It's never really governed by the people.
He is ill. No, I'm not talking about COVID. Yet. However, there might be something to that conspiracy theory too. As early as 1932, the U.S. Public Health Service collaborated with the Tuskegee Institute on a phony syphilis treatment program. The experiment, which involved lying to over 400
I heard about the Tuskegee syphilis.
American men with syphilis, was only scheduled to last 6 months at first. However,
We
it took
know.
until 1972 for the public to become aware of the research, at which point the government was forced to terminate the experiment.
Mm.
For 40 years, the 400 men were frequently given harmful drugs and subjected to painful and
They can never take
unneeded
that
medical
back.
procedures in the name of medicine. Despite the fact that penicillin became a known cure for syphilis, researchers hid this information from patients in order to keep the experiment going. 21. The government uses our dead bodies for experiments.
We can't slip past that one. Are they always using our people to test out new medicines and drugs and everything? I'm telling you, our people, we are priceless. Like the blood running through our veins, the melanin in our skin. Mm. Look around, just look around. I'm telling you, it's in everything. They don't want us to know this. Anyway,
Conspiracy theories can be highly entertaining until they turn out to be true. Following the nuclear bombings in Japan, the U.S. launched a large study to assess the impact of nuclear fallout on the human body. To do this, the government stole dead bodies. Yes, the dead bodies of babies and young children.
Benjamin Franklin,
The
my
main
mom was
reason
doing
was that
that.
they needed young tissue, so they enlisted a global network of agents to locate recently deceased newborns and children, and then retrieve
My Wi-Fi be Wi-Fi.
samples, sometimes even limbs, without notifying or obtaining consent from the hundreds of grieving families. 20. The government poisoned alcohol during Prohibition in order to discourage drinking.
Mm.
Alcohol producers
So I don't even touch that
have been
stuff.
combining their products with dangerous chemicals for a long time. However, between 1926 and 1933, the federal government
Come on, Wi-Fi. This
pushed
wall.
manufacturers to add higher doses of these chemicals to their products to deter bootleggers from turning the liquor into moonshine. Unfortunately, that
So basically, they
did
poisoned
not
everyone to
discourage
deter them from.
bootleggers or those who bought their.
They poisoned all the bottles to deter people from not drinking as much, which is crazy. Like depopulation standards have changed over the years, but this was going on back then. Whew. Let's fast forward this one.
For trade have included renowned corporate leaders, U.S. presidents, artists, and oil tycoons. It's said that participants are not permitted to conduct business there. Still, there has been an exception or two, most notably in 1942 for the Manhattan Project, when the discussions and approvals led to the development of the atomic bomb. 18. The president's wife ran the country.
Why they gotta call it Manhattan though? Like, hello.
The president, or the first lady in question, was Edith Wilson. President Wilson had a crippling stroke near the conclusion of his presidency, but the government felt it was in the country's best interest to keep, the news quiet. As such, his wife, Edith Wilson, made the vast majority of executive decisions for several months. Despite Mrs. Wilson's claim that she simply served as a steward, historians who have studied the Wilson presidency concur that Mrs. Wilson was essentially president for much over a year, and that she didn't do too badly. 17. The government wants to control our minds.
Hold up. I heard about the Biden theory, right? Apparently Biden is, not Biden, like he's not a body double. Let's see if that conspiracy theory comes true.
The 1950s were a scary time for U.S. citizens. The government grappled with communist spies as the Cold War was heating up, and those in power decided
This Wi-Fi man, this wall back here.
that drastic measures were in order. It was during this time that Project MKUltra was born. In order to find a truth serum, the CIA decided to secretly inject unwitting U.S. and Canadian individuals with LSD and then interrogate and occasionally torture the subjects. The CIA reimbursed hospitals, jails, and colleges for cooperation and silence. In 1973, CIA Director Richard Helms ordered the
Meanwhile, they done created drug addicts, put LSD in their system, paid off the hospitals, and didn't even take care of the people. Like, this is crazy.
destruction of all MK Ultra related records, and while the plot was finally exposed, no one participating in the operation remembered these specifics. 16. The FBI tried to discredit American political groups it deemed subversive.
They didn't remember because y'all done drug them out their mind. It's not their natural state. This world is crazy.
From the CIA to the FBI. When the FBI wasn't investigating crimes, the Bureau, led by J. Edgar Hoover, spent most of its time trying to keep communism from spreading in the U.S. The FBI hounded various political groups, such as the Civil Rights Movement, through a secret program known as COINTELPRO, Counterintelligence Program. Dr. Martin Luther King was public enemy number one. Agents bugged his hotel rooms, stalked him, attempted to break up his marriage, and even wrote him an anonymous letter pushing him to commit suicide at one point. 15. The government spied on John Lennon.
That government boy, they do everything when they want to come at you.
Crazy celebrity conspiracy theories are always entertaining, and this one was quite true. In the same way as many other counterculture heroes, John Lennon was seen as a threat. To fuel the fire, his anti-war songs like Give Peace a Chance didn't endear him to the Nixon administration. The FBI decided to place Lennon under surveillance in 1971, and
If I could punch this
the Immigration and Naturalization Service attempted to deport him a year later. I won't discuss the conspiracy theories surrounding his assassination just yet. 14. The government makes use of hitmen. Following the Watergate crisis in 1975, Senator Frank Church helped establish the predecessor of the U.S. Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, known as the Church Committee. Their objective was
Come on, Wi-Fi. Let's go. I want to hear the story.
to investigate the CIA and FBI to guarantee they were working within the law. The committee swiftly determined that the CIA had essentially gone into the hitman business. In addition to assassinating Mossadegh and Allende in Iran, the CIA also killed revolutionaries and rebel leaders in Central and South America, the Middle East, and Africa. They disguised their murders as car crashes, suicides, diseases, and heart attacks. 13. The government.
Keep your eye out for any of those keywords, okay? Because that's automatic sus. But anyway, on a lighter note, not really light, it's kind of crazy because when I was in 5th grade, I remember this kid. You know how when you're in school and the teacher asks everyone, what do you want to be when you get older? You know, that story, how it goes. He said he wanted to be a missionary. Mercenary. So we, all of us looked around like, what the heck is that? The teacher looking shocked. Her eyes looking like she want to, just like a deer in headlights and everything. And she had to explain to everyone, because obviously it's school, she had to explain to everyone what a missionary was. And this little freaking elementary school kid basically wanted to kill people for a living. Out people for a living. Excuse me, YouTube. He wanted to out people's lives for a living. He wanted to unalive these people for a living. Crazy. Like, look at me. Anyway, let's get to 13. I hope that kid.
Social media to spy.
I hope that kid dream. I don't know if I should say hope his dream came true or not. I don't know.
On you. Unfortunately, this one is 100% true. Thanks to the Twitter files, we also know they can find themselves in delicate situations if they meddle too much. The Electronic Frontier Foundation, or EFF, is a nonprofit that advises the public on all online safety matters and defends civil liberties in the digital world. Thanks to their efforts, we know how many user data requests our government agencies send to the most prominent platforms every year. In 2016 alone, there were over 49,868 requests for data.
All right, guys. we're gonna stop right here. This was a nice long video. I'm just testing out my functions and everything. And we're gonna end it on that note. Peace.